Hey, hello, Durgadas. How are you?
Good. A little tired, but otherwise okay.
Sorry, couldn't hear you very good.
Oh, sorry. I'm a little tired, but otherwise okay. This is uh, day 19 of a work month, so it's been an up and down ride.
Um, do you
How
want
about
to
you?
do you want to talk about how you're feeling?
Oh, just well, last week was really tough because it's I had like crippling nausea for like 8 hours a day for 6 days, and then the sixth day was like 14 hours of crippling nausea. So it was just psychologically extremely difficult to deal with. So, um, yeah, but I found a solution to that. So I'm so happy. It also meant that I didn't sleep all that well for a week. So I just called in sick to work today and slept right in. So,
Wow, it sounds a lot.
yeah.
I hope you were able to rest a little bit, or at least this week you can take
Well,
some time for yourself.
I've lost 32 pounds during this time. So,
Oh,
I'm
wow.
hoping only 50 more to go. How about you guys?
I am doing good. Um, I was off for just last 2 weeks. My fiance came to
Oh,
Brazil. We live in different countries and we are trying to move in together this year. And he came to visit. So we
is he
spent some
staying
time
there or
together.
are
Um,
you moving with him?
he's moving to Brazil.
Oh,
Yeah. So it was very nice to disconnect and be with him.
mm-hmm. That sounds awesome.
It was very nice. I feel like I need it. I don't remember last time that I took some time off to just relax and be still. So it
Yeah,
was very relaxing.
that's great.
Yeah. How are you, Idani?
Hi guys. Um, I'm fine. I'm sorry to hear that you're feeling that way, Dorgadas.
Oh, it's just
Um,
part of the thing I volunteered for.
yeah, the last time that I heard you, I noticed that your voice was like I things happening, but I failed to ask you. Um, I believe it's the same thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's um,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I mean, I haven't eaten for almost 3 weeks, so that's
Wow.
that's tough.
Yeah, that's hard. I hope you regained your balance and homeostasis.
Yeah, I think I found a solution to the
Okay,
nausea. You
good.
know, so that was the most difficult thing. And
Yeah, good to hear.
yeah,
And well, and seems like you're leaving something important, Bianca. So it's nice to hear that you share about your life and what you're going through. And me, um, I have been a little anxious, really anxious these days, and yeah, a lot, really a lot. So I am in a training that it's called body mind movement, and it has been really useful to add this to my to the trauma practice, and it has been really lovely, and the group and the learning, and I really love it. But it has been online the this pandemic time,
Mm.
and right now we're this week we're going to do the uh, presential the part that is presential, and I well I didn't notice how far has this been for me, but I'm nearly panicking that I don't want to go, but I want to bring myself into going, but I don't know. It's like yeah, I'm having a hard time with that because uh I I have a autoimmune condition, and I also um I have a dormant retrovirus. So I don't want to have COVID, and I haven't have it. So if I go into this presencing thing, would I have it? So should I decide not to go? That so I'm experiencing that, and it's been hard to take a decision about it. So that's why I'm going through. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Thanks for sharing it. Yeah, it sounds like a decision process that
Yeah.
yeah, you need to take a decision and see the costs that your decision is gonna take for you, right? Like
Yes.
how much will cost you the decision to go or to stay, and the value of going and being exposed, but also experiencing something that could be really interesting for you,
Hmm.
or staying and knowing that you're not going to be exposed, but also not experiencing what you could be having.
Yes. Yes. And maybe I have to face my what happened to me in for being isolated so much time. It has been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well. And I also had a talk with Tam today. I come
Mm-hmm.
from there because I haven't been just presencing the calls and not making any contribution, and she offered to orient me or help me however she could, and it was lovely to talk with her. And that's it. That's my share. Thank you for listening.
Oh, that's nice. That's good to know.
Yeah, I will say the same thing.
That's great. Yeah, so it seems like a lot of decisions um about to be made. Dorga does into his process. Um, that he took a decision going through of his going through that he volunteered, and now he is in the process of passing through the costs of the decision that he made, and I'm sure it add a lot of value, even positive or negative. But I think the beauty of that is to understand what are the things that we can bring to our life in a way that um, we grow from it, and what are the things that we keep from it. I don't know exactly what's that you volunteer for, but it sounds like it's something bigger than just the decision of stop eating for 3 weeks.
Well, I can explain it to you if you'd like. It's a interesting thing, but I don't know if
Sure.
you're on the agenda for today. But I'm happy to. First of all, I just want to say I'm happy to. You know, I've been I've been in the TEC more than a year and a half, so um, and I'm almost completely not concerned with projects or crypto or technology at all. The only thing I'm here to do is care about people, and so you know, so for my part, if there's anything I can do, just let me know. And but you may or may not know that um, basically yoga is really all about giving up things, right? So the the real spiritual life is about waking up from belief as opposed to creating some other kind of belief, right? So it's not like believing the right thing or from the right teacher or the right narrow interpretation of anything. It's about removing all modifications of your mind, beliefs, idealisms, everything, so that you can see the world as it is. And so, to this end, in yoga, the thing that we do a lot is something called tapasya, which is uh, basically like specifically and intentionally doing extremely difficult things um, so that you can sort of face yourself in a specific way to create um, an understanding of yourself. And what's happened with me was that because I've had a very difficult relationship, which is essentially ending in divorce at this time, with the person who just hates the fact that I have autism and resents me for it and everything. So, you know, I've I've just had my life has evolved from where I used to work inside out, you know, to um, somebody who's much more concerned with creating external conditions for myself so that I can, be happy. So I didn't really like the way that that was going, and I couldn't even really keep small promises to myself, So like I'd order pizza and I'd be like, okay, I'm just gonna eat a couple of pieces of this pizza, and then the whole pizza's gone. So I recognized that I had sort of a multi-layered problem, and that I needed to go back to what I used to do. I mean, in many ways, when I went to the Hindu monastery, I gave up everything. They repossessed my car. I took all the money out of my bank account, and I lived in a 4x6 shed without heat or electricity for 5 years. So that was a giving up. It was intentionally doing the most difficult thing, um, imaginable, really. Um, so I mean, I slept in a sleeping bag, for 5 years. Like in the middle of the winter, just with a mummy bag with just breathing out of a blowhole just to stay warm. So it was, it was doing hard things. And so I just looked at myself and said, I can't even keep small promises to myself about how much food I eat. You know, this is just dumb. So I need to do a difficult thing, and I was already, you know, so many pounds overweight that I couldn't take anymore. So I thought the best thing I can do is fast and get some clarity of mind from from doing this difficult thing. I had also Achilles tendon issue 7 years ago that has taken forever to heal. So I couldn't like exercise my way out of the problem, which is the way I've always lost weight in the past. So yeah, so it's been so I just it's a way of kind of reclaiming my life back from this this highly difficult period and sedentariness that came with COVID and all of my emotional turmoil about this person who I've been with. So, um, and it's really working in that way. It's just I've also had support. So there's a guy online at waterfasting.org. He's an expert in water fasting. I paid him. We talked, and he said, "Okay, if you're having this nausea, here's what you can do." And so he helped me solve the problem, and he was bang on. The very first time I did the thing, it was like instant. So like, unbelievable. so yeah, I mean, when I'm facing difficult things, I tend to be isolated because I have autism, but I'm smart enough to know now that I often need support, even if it's somebody like that. So if I have trouble parsing my thoughts and feelings, I do have people that I can turn to, even though I might still be stuck in this mode. So I hope that was understandable.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. I see you, and I'm proud of you for doing all that for yourself, for standing up for yourself and doing something that, you know, you're the only one that can do. And sometimes it's hard to have that kind of perspective where we realize if we don't do something for us, nobody's gonna do. And it's not something easy at all.
Yeah,
And going
I'm
through all
at
that,
a low
it's
point. I
yeah.
was at my lowest mental point since I was growing up on welfare with a drug addict mother when I was a teenager 3 months ago, you know, honestly. So I was like, what do I have to do to get out of this? It took me a while, but this is what I can do.
I'm so proud of you. I would give you a hug right now if I could,
Thank
but I'm sending virtual hugs. And give yourself a hug.
you. I appreciate that. I'm laying here under a weighted blanket, so that's the next best thing.
Yeah, it's not easy. Um, there's a song that says that nobody said it was easy, and that's for sure. Like it's so true. Life it's not easy, and in so many levels, um, that what we are doing here, in different perspectives, in caring about people in different ways. It's something that's so valuable. And I appreciate that a lot because it's something that sometimes we miss on. But when somebody really needs this kind of help, it's because they already went all the other ways that they could. And I found myself too in a position where I didn't know where to go. And I was totally lost. And I had two options. Or I could still going down and down in the point where I would literally kill myself
Mm-hmm.
in all the ways that this could represent. Or I have to give a step in another step and go up.
Mhm.
And even though we have people around us, sometimes it's hard to get help. And we are the ones that can help ourselves the most. But understanding that process is also very hard.
Mhm.
So I'm very proud of you for doing that and standing up for yourself.
Thank you.
And you need to eat any. Um, I know it's hard to get a decision, um, especially in a way where it involves our health. And when we are for so long um, in our own space, it's scary to go in a different direction when there are so many effects and so many things that can happen. Um, so for today, I don't really have an agenda. I was waiting on Anna because she was leading the call
Mm.
for these last 2 weeks. And she told me that she had some updates for the research. And because I was off, today's really like the first day that I'm coming back and catching up on everything. I was waiting for her um to come up, but and she didn't even respond me, but I think she was very busy. She also works with Gitcoin, so I know she deal with the grants and she reveals all the grants and stuff. So maybe she was very busy with that and she was resting today. Her schedule is also very crazy. Um, but for the psychology updates, I don't know if any of you were here last week.
I wasn't. I couldn't be.
I don't
I
recall.
wasn't in any call last week, I believe.
Yeah. So what she told me is that she did some literature review. Um, and I think Diden was also helping um with some content. And we are um supposed to have the questions for the survey ready. We are already late on that. This month has been kind of weird because I got this time off, and also Anna had some family issue and she was off too for a couple of days. I don't know if she want to expose what happened, so I would just say she had some family issue. Um, but yeah, we're kind of late on that. So I also got one of my teachers from school to help us build the research. Um, but I got some questions from the Dow Health survey that I think can help us to give a direction of what kind of questions we want to put in our survey. And I had some people reaching out to me asking about when the survey is going to be ready, and they are um, they're open to participate in the survey, people from different DAOs. So I think we're gonna have um, a good number of people once the survey is done. Somebody asked me what's the target population that we want in our research. Um, that was a good question because I don't think we have discussed that before.
I can tell you
Because
that that's a question I'm almost constantly asking. Who is it we're talking to, and what do we want to talk to them about? So yeah, and then
no,
connecting
like
those two things,
mhm.
creates a map that you can then map content, to people with.
I was thinking like the target number. So yeah, the target population, like the characteristic of people, I would say like people that works in DAOs, people that are in DAO space, and I don't know about a number that we want to reach.
Well, I can
So
tell you, I was surprised. I went to Metafest is going on right now, and in Metafest, I saw that there was a DAO that had created a tool set for DAOs, right? Where you'd like build your own DAO, and then here are all the tools that they kind of give you, right, for that. And I think that they had, on their website, they said something like almost 3,000 individual DAOs had built themselves just on that one platform. So you have to imagine there's, you know, 10 or 100 times that amount of DAOs, not to mention people participating in those DAOs, right? So it's a it's a much bigger number, I think, than we often imagine.
wow, 300 DAOs,
3,000
3,000 DAOs.
had used this one tool set to build their DAO on. And so
Wow.
what about all the other ones who haven't used that tool? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so I was kind of blew my mind a little bit, to be honest.
But also I think like there are a lot of DAOs trying to become a DAO. You know what I mean? Like they're not DAOs yet, but they're trying to become a DAO.
Oh, for sure. I would say
So
most DAOs are like that.
yeah, wow, that's a huge number.
I'm just saying, just to just to give you a sense of it, right? Like they have right on the front page of their website, it's like 2,957 DAOs have used our tools to do this thing, and I'm thinking, wow, I had no concept that there were so many DAOs. And then I thought, oh, it's way more than that because that's just the people who knew about this tool set. I've been in the DAO space for a year and a half. I'd never even heard of these people. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So just think of I mean, could there be like 100,000 DAOs out there? Like that means there's millions of people. Like it's just,
that's crazy.
it's
And but
extraordinary.
Like there are the same people involved in different DAOs.
Oh, sure, that's true.
Yeah, that's crazy. How do you feel? And that's a question for you both. How do you feel that working in a DAO or being in a DAO space is affecting your mental health? That's something that it's for sure like something that we want to know with the survey and with the research. But this time that I took off, I was like deeply thinking about it because I am trying to found another DAOs with some folks that I know. Um, and some of them are giving me such a hard time. Um, and anyways, how do you feel that working a DAO or being in the DAO space is um affecting your mental health?
Go ahead, Evan. I'll wait.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I was just encouraging Irene to go first.
He didn't. He said for you to go first.
Yeah, yeah. Um, the I'm not the the usual person in these spaces, so I don't know if I represent anything at all. I came in. Um, I was like following things that were written and said in on Twitter and on blogs of DAOs, and trying to get near so I could think about participating sometime. But I came into this DAO because I really felt it. It was a gut feeling like, yeah, this space, it's good for me. So I came with really selfish and individual reasons. For me, it's part of a personal leadership process because I didn't know how to approach that issue in my life, and I need to work on that. And I was evaluating the different options that I could feel that are a fit for me, and this one was the best. So I am doing inner work, and I really conscious about my rhythm. So I'm not a common profile for these questions because, for instance, last week I didn't go to any uh, meeting because I was felt it was too much for me, and also I haven't contributed in anything specific, just attending because I am orienting myself and making myself familiar. I'm not good with strange people and I'm not good with new things. So I'm giving myself time. So I I have a lot of consideration for me. So and my rhythm because those are fast. So I'm not a common profile. So I don't think that what I can share it's useful for the whole DAO community. I don't think many people respond and organize like I do. So yeah, I believe my mental health is better because I came into the Tao, because I am using it consciously as a plan for me. I want to contribute, I want to feel better with myself and in my place in building what I believe in. And this part of distributed power, it's good for the soul. So for me it's good. And also organizing my brain in understanding and in the flow that is really different from where I was at before I came in. That has been a real challenge. I can feel my brain reorganizing, and some days it's just like fragmented and then coming together again. So it's reshaping. So that is challenging, but it's good also. So I'm not a common profile for that question.
I like your answer. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, me
I
too.
think
Yeah.
you are a good contributor for the DAO and for this space. I think you have especially a lot of um experience to share.
Yeah, and we also need people who want to be more considered and go slow and all of that. So, um, in many ways, things move too fast, and they often move too fast because that's the cultural dynamic. You know? We assume everything is either requiring an expert or is all known, but we don't we don't give the complexity of what actually is going on here enough consideration. And I don't know if you've seen my thread in the gravity thing lately, but I lay out the case for that and for some of the graphics that I've made um, along those same lines. So,
I lost your last words, Turgenes. Sorry.
oh, I was saying, I don't know if you've seen my thread in the gravity text thing, but innovator was kind of asking me, who else is championing my four-strand model? I kind of laid out, you know, like in a very detailed way why I made the model. Well, it's not really a model, it's more like a map, right? So, it's uh, so if you don't mind, I'll kind of start on my thing, but I love Irene's thing, and I actually just want you to know that I think um, the going fast thing is not a given. In fact, advocating for things to be more slow and considered and, and to parse them, properly, um, thoughtfully is a really important thing, and that's what I try to do in that block of text that you'll see in the Gravity channel. You know, um, for me, it's I think I've gone a little bit too far in with my participation in DAOs because being on the autism spectrum and being almost entirely in a mental sphere for the last 7 years because of my leg injury, I've become almost a bit too savant-like in my um, approach to things. So I just think at a layer of complexity that is, uh, I think, and is pretty obviously beyond. I'm having a hard time reining in my how at the complexity at which I think, right? And even when I try to make a graphic or something to, rein that in and sort of summarize it and coalesce it into something, um, you know, it's still, too complicated for most people. So Um, but yeah, it's been great for me because I feel like it's just allowed my brain to work in a way that I'd not given myself permission to do before because, you know, I'm just a high school graduate. I have no degrees. I have no secondary education. I'm just completely self-taught person, right? And so I've either gained it from, you know, I also think, like this very, very expansive um, kind of a person. So in no other place have I ever had the opportunity to sort of unfold my wings, as it were, and really think at the complexity with the idea that people could have the slightest fucking clue what I'm talking about. So it's really nice to have people that, at least some people, upon which this can land and not go, holy shit, you're crammed my brain full of things and I hate you. But instead are like, wow, I really, you know, need to spend time with this, figure out what you've done, kind of thing. So it's incredibly satisfying in that sense. At the same time, I participate in sort of too many different places, and I'm a little bit getting ADHD on the back of that. So I'm starting to try to limit my participation in the DAO space to just a couple of days a week, and so that I can bring that back in and get. I need to, part of the fasting thing is to try to get out of being just a big sloth laying in bed, even though that's what I'm doing right now. And get back into my body because I'm also, a master yoga teacher. I was the head yoga teacher at a 50-year-old, monastery, and so I have encyclopedic knowledge of those things too. And I coach athletes for 25 years, and so I just need to get back into having a more embodied experience, get back on my bike, get back on my yoga mat, and get back in meditation, and so I'm struggling a little bit to, pack all of this explosive mental growth that I've had back into, reining it back into something a bit more, embodied and on the ground and in person. So it's, my mental health is mostly not to do with DAOs. The DAO has been the place that I've had to run to get validation and things when I've had a person in my life who's reflexively invalidating me. So, I mean, it's been sort of my salvation through this whole, period of time. Um, so that part of it's really been great. Um, but yeah, now I'm kind of turning a corner and I need to move in a different direction, and I'm struggling a little bit with saying no, to things and so on. So yeah, it really has helped me in a lot more ways than I think people are aware of.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. It's amazing how the same space have different effects in different people. Um, Depending on what you're coming here to, like, what what do you want to get from this space and what you're looking for. Um, I want to say that my mental health at the beginning, it was being amazing for my mental health because I was feeling lost in what I was doing in my life. Because I was like, okay, I am completing my degree in psychology, but I don't really see myself in a clinic or something like that. I wanted to give a different direction for all my experience and all that. And I wanted to do something different from what people usually do after they graduate. So when I found the Tao space, I was actually very happy because everything made sense for me. Um, but now that I understand better about the DAOs and I'm more involved, and I actually need to stop getting involved in DAOs. I want to get myself out of here. Not of here at TEC, but out of the DAO-ish, like Web3 and all this. Because sometimes it can be very toxic, and it's this kind of thing where it's like, oh, come here, we are all good, we do great things, we are amazing, and we are very healthy people. And then next thing you see, it's a lot of people being aggressive and hating and telling lies and all that. So, anyways, I am having a personal hard time with another space that I'm involved in. And TC is actually I think I kind of have like the same feeling at Durgadas, where like TC is the good part of it, is where I go to feel that I can do something good. So I feel that here I have value, and I can contribute, and I feel good about it. But at the same time, all this, it's like, I don't know where my mental health is going to. And being away these 2 weeks was so good, where I didn't have responsibilities. I felt so good. And I saying goodbye to my fiance. It was terrible. It sucked every time. And it was hard to come back and open the Discord again and have 1,000 messages and all that. And I was like, oh God, okay, let's do it. Let's face it. But it's also like good to see all these interesting things happening and exciting things going on. And the other side, it's sad because of all this hate and all these toxic relationships that happens. And I look at what we are doing here with the research and the mental health support that we're trying to raise and gravity and all that, and I see, okay, we have some hope. And sometimes even though I want to give up, and I'm like, okay, it's too much for me, I think like, no, we are in a good direction. And it's almost a year that I'm involved in all that. So it's gonna be worth it. And I tell myself like keep going, keep going, keep going. Don't stop. Don't stop. So I don't know if it makes sense, but that's where my mental health is right now.
Have you seen this graphic that I made that seems applicable to your situation? Can I share it with you?
Your mic is so low. I'm sorry. I put like all the volumes up that I could.
Oh, I don't know what's going on, but um, is that any better?
Yeah, now you can hear you better.
Okay. I was gonna say, have you seen this? If I can share this graphic that I made with you, I want to show you the. Have you seen this
Yeah.
graphic?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that my assessment is that most people believe when you um, when they get into anything new at all, right? And when I lived at the ashram, people would do this too, right? Um, this in this case, you have this horrible thing on the left side, right? Which psychology is supposed to help with, which is sort of down here in step two. But what I think we're taught is that there's some Jesus idea, right? The savior idea, right? So in this situation, it's a Tao, right? But when we're at the ashram, it's like I'm going to go to this community, and then they're going to save me from myself, right? I know at least 10 people who committed suicide after being at the ashram because it didn't do that for them. Do you know what I mean? Um, they went there, it was their last hope, right? Um, the and so I think that our culture does a thing where we're so allergic to thinking with any nuance or complexity or anything. It's just we need like a mother or father figure to run to, and so all these new ideas and idealisms is all we have to to go to. So if you go to the Tao space, you're like, but the there's a few things I learned when I built this building. The very first people that I attracted were horribly mentally ill people. It was awful. Just the amount of drama that's happened. The first few years of this place is just incredible. So the moment you put your hand up in the air saying, here's a place you can come, we can all, be healthy and happy, and you, you just get descended upon by all these people, and because the wider culture never teaches you about how to do any of these other things, in this, re-educating, you know, breaking up power. So just basic mental health, like we just haven't cared for that at all. Just we don't care about people. Our education system just ignores people functionally. After fifth or sixth grade, they don't care about your mental, emotional health, and you never talk about it. It's all about the external world, right? So how would you ever learn about how to do any of this stuff or how to recover from being involved in an abusive system? It's just horrifying to me. And so I see that we, even in the token engineering commons, struggle, with this stuff, right? I've participated in a bunch of other DAOs, and universally they have this issue, right? So, um, but thankfully, because they're focused on the commons give you kind of a weightiness to your approach to things, so that you end up with, better chance at, having space to create these kinds of systems and talk about them and deal with them. And that's why a lot of the things like what you're doing, and gravity itself and omega and all these things can take seed in a culture like this, because it's mostly focused on the commons, right? So just to use one example, 40 acres now,